All right, Shalom. First and foremost, call hello Yamla, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Harachakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone and Rule Well, as well as Teach Well. And peace and salutations to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. And the title of this video is going to be, And They Walked in the Midst of the Fire, Praising Yahweh. Okay? And that's inspired by right here, as you see on the screen, the prayer of Azariah 1:1, all right, which reads, it says, And they walked in the midst of the fire, praising Yahweh and blessing the Lord. Okay, and obviously when you're reading this chapter, this whole entire chapter is going into the account of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego being delivered out of the furnace. Okay, the burning furnace. Okay, which you read of right here in Daniel the 3rd chapter. Okay, which goes into the time when Nebuchadnezzar basically had an image, a giant image or giant statue, a golden statue created, okay, after his likeness, and he basically commanded all nations of people, including our people at this time, to bow down to this image, okay, worship his image. And that pretty much those who would refuse to bow to his image, worship his gods, and conform to the ways of the Babylonians, would be basically put to death. Okay, and that was when you're reading this chapter, our forefathers Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, okay, were the main ones who were at the forefront of refusing to bow to this image and bow to the gods of the Babylonians and bow to Nebuchadnezzar's image and his ways. Okay, and let's see, Daniel chapter 3, start at verse 19. It says, Then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury. Okay, and why was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury? Because he got word that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego refused to bow to his image. Okay, so Daniel 3:19 again. Then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Okay, and as the scripture speaks about in Ecclesiastes 3rd chapter, that which is then is now. We see Esau, Edom, the modern day king of this modern day Babylon, the Great America. Okay, getting ready to set up his left hand image. All right, in the form of what? The NWO. Okay, AI. Automation, mass surveillance. Okay, and then of course it all leads to what? The Charagma. All right, the Revelation 13 and 16. Okay, where basically Esau's getting ready to establish his NWO system. Okay, and basically calls the whole world, all right, rich and poor, free and bond, small and great, to receive that Charagma. Okay, to be able to of course buy and sell and do particular things in the world that he's getting ready to set up. Okay, have access to certain things, have access to certain jobs. All right, all if you bow the knee to his image, his NWO system. All right, which we know as the hopeful elect. Okay, as the Lord said in as the Apostle Paul said in Romans 11, which he was quoting what the Lord told the prophet Elijah, the Lord has already reserved to himself 7,000 men, a perfect number of men that would not bow the knee to the image of Baal. Okay, so just like our forefathers Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego right here, okay, were reserved to not bow the knee to Nebuchadnezzar in his image and his gods. Well, guess what? We the hopeful elect, we come in the same stead as well here in these outer days. All right. So Daniel 3:19, Then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times more that it was wont to be heated. And so he basically got so mad to where he commanded his men to basically turn the heat up. All right, turn up the heat on that furnace. All right. And that's going to be likened to, when Esau is going to see the elect not bowing the knee and conforming to his NWO system, he's going to do what? Turn up the persecution, turn up the accusation, all right? Turn up, more hell and more tribulation that he's going to put upon us, okay? For standing stiffly for our faith in Yahweh Shema Shai, you see? Verse 20, and he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. You see that? So Nebuchadnezzar had men within his army, okay? Mighty men within his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And that's going to be like into, when Esau is going to send his martial law troops, okay, to bind, some of us as of the hopeful elect, bring us to these sea camps, these fun camps, okay, all to what, try to put fear in us to bow to the knee and take the charagma, okay, and things like that. Esau's going to use his military, to try to strike fear into us like that. But hey, the Lord's going to put a cold spirit in the elect, all right, to not be in fear, okay, but to stand stiffly, all right. And even Yahushua said in Revelation 2:10, okay, fear not, be faithful unto death, all right. The devil shall cast some of you into prison for 10 days, okay, a perfect amount of time, all right. But what, be faithful unto death, so that we can receive that crown of life, all right. Daniel 3:20 again, and he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Verse 21. Then these men were bound in their coats, their hosen, and their hats, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. All right. So they were cast into the midst of that furnace. All right, that fiery furnace. Thrown straight forward, all right, headlong into that fiery furnace. And so as we read right here in the prayer of Azariah 1:1, okay, what did Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego do once they were cast into that furnace? It says, and they walked in the midst of the fire, praising Yahweh and blessing the Lord. You see that? So, they didn't go into that furnace with the spirit of fear upon them, okay? They went into that furnace with the mentality of a soldier, a warrior, okay? They went in there praising the Lord, you see? And that's the spirit that the Lord has us, the hopeful elect, being built upon more and more in these days as we're getting ready to enter to Jacob's trouble, okay? The Lord is building up our spirit to where, when we, officially enter into Jacob's trouble, all right, when all these plagues and these judgments and persecution, intensify, hey, we the hopeful elect, starting with our apostles of Great Millstone down to least of us, we gonna be praising the Lord in that day. And and ultimately, why are we going to be praising the Lord? Because that's going to be the sign letting us know that we're at the end, okay? We're just inches away from Yahushua coming back, okay? Because even, all right, let's go to Matthew 24 real quick. Let's see. Give me a second. Let's see. Yep, this is Matthew chapter 24, and I'm going to start at verse 20. This is Yahushua speaking. He says, but pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. Verse 21, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time. Okay, what is that great tribulation Yahushua is speaking of? All right, ultimately Jacob's trouble here in these latter days. Okay, because, hey, Jacob's trouble, okay, all this hell, all this persecution, all this, societal collapse that's coming down the pipe, that's going to be like a time never before, you see? And he says, no, nor ever shall be. Verse 22, and except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. So, and this right here is going to be one of the main reasons why we, the hopeful elect, are going to be praising the Lord when Jacob's trouble hit. Because, the days are going to be shortened, okay, more speedily, which right now, over these past years, the Lord, has already been shortening up the days. Okay, look at how fast, the year 2024 went by. Okay, and look at how much has been going on just in these first, 5 or 6 days of 2025. Okay, so that's letting us know the Lord, has already been shortening up the days, speeding up the times up until this point now. Well, guess what? As Yahushua is speaking of right here, all right, when Jacob's troubles hit, the Lord's gonna shorten up the days even faster. You see, and we're gonna be praising the Lord in that day because, when Jacob's trouble, fully hits, okay, that's when we, the hopeful elect, are gonna know that we're just inches away from our salvation, being delivered out of these times. Matthew 24 and 22 again, and except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. Yeah, so it's a must that Yahweh Shema Shai shortened up the days of Jacob's trouble, for the elect's sake, or else what? If the days would be prolonged during Jacob's trouble, then none of us would be saved. None of us would make it. Okay, just like if the Lord didn't shorten up the time of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego being in that furnace, right? Then none of them would have made it out alive out of that furnace. And it says, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Okay, for us, the hopeful elect's sake, when Jacob's trouble hit, the Lord's gonna shorten up the days, and that's why we're gonna be praising the Lord. So back in the prayer of Azariah 1 verse 1, and they walked in the midst of the fire, praising Yahweh and blessing the Lord. Verse 2, then Azariah stood up and prayed on this manner, and opening his mouth in the midst of the fire, said, blessed art thou, O Lord Yahweh of our fathers. Thy name is worthy to be praised and glorified evermore. And you see, and that's going to be, a major sign of who's the elect in that day. When Jacob's trouble fully hits, those is going to be calling on the names of Yahweh Shema Shai in truth and sincerity. Okay, because you best believe if you're an Israelite in 2025, as we see persecution coming down the pipe, as we see Jacob's trouble coming down the pipe, all right, famine, unrighteous decrees, draconian laws, the increase in AI, the increase in surveillance, okay, Esau coming down with great wrath. As we see all these things clearly coming down the pipe, if you're an Israelite in 2025 and you're not calling on the names of Yahweh Shema Shai, you're still bullshitting when it comes to the name, still calling on Jesus Christ and Most High and Christ bless, or calling on Yah and Yehoshua, or any other name that's not Yahweh Shema Shai. All right, the Lord is not gonna deliver you out of this modern day fiery furnace, which is Jacob's trouble. Okay, you have to go into these times praising Yahweh Shema Shai via His names. Okay, standing stiffly for those names. All right, because as it says in Isaiah 59 and 19, we will fear the name of the Lord from the west and from the east. Okay, and when the enemy Esau, Edom, comes through like a flood, martial law, great wrath, all these things, the Lord's gonna lift up a standard for us. Okay, but that standard is not gonna come without you calling on their names. You see, just like the Lord lifted up a standard for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego when they were in that furnace. Was that standard being what? Basically, when he sent Yahweh Shai to deliver them out of that furnace. Just like the Most High Yahweh is going to send Yahweh Shai to deliver us out of Jacob's trouble. Okay? So, prayer of Azariah 1 verse 3. Blessed art thou, O Lord Yahweh of our fathers. Thy name is worthy to be praised and glorified evermore. All right? And hey, when these times come, the Lord is going to show you why his name and his begotten son's name is going to be worthy to be praised in that day. Okay? Let's get James chapter 1. James chapter 1 and verse 2. It says, My brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into diverse temptations. Yep. Just like Shadrach and Meshach and Abednego counted it joy. All right. When they got cast into that furnace. Because that was their opportunity to praise the Lord. And to basically call on the Lord to do a marvelous work for them in the eyes of Nebuchadnezzar and the Chaldeans and the Babylonians. Okay. So James 1 verse 2 again, my brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into diverse temptations. Verse 3, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. You see, and when Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were cast into that fiery furnace, all right, that was ultimately for the trying of their faith. That was basically the Lord testing their faith. Okay, seeing if they would call upon His name, seeing if they would praise His name as they were thrown head first into that furnace. So guess what? When Jacob's trouble befalls us in these latter days, okay, that's also going to be a trying of our faith, us the hopeful elect. That's going to be an opportunity for the Lord to see which one of us is going to stand stiffly for His name and His begotten Son's name, okay? And who's going to ultimately be faithful unto death, all right? James 1 and 3 again, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience, right? And patience also goes into suffering, So that's also going to be a time, speaking of Jacob's trouble, right? That's also going to be a time for us to suffer in righteousness' sake, okay? Being patient, testing our patience, testing our faith, all right? Testing our integrity, all right? It says, verse 4, but let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. Yep. And that's how the elect are going to be found, okay, when we get cast into the fiery furnace, so to speak, the fiery furnace in the form of Jacob's trouble, okay, to see which one of us is going to be made perfect in that day, be made likened unto precious gold, fine gold, okay, because that's how gold is purified. When you go into the purification of gold and things like that, the person that's purifying that gold, what do they have to do? They have to put that piece of gold, okay, into the hottest part of the fire, to purify, to purge out all of its dross, okay, to purge out all of its imperfection, okay, to make it perfect, all right. And that person, who's purifying that gold, he's gonna know when it's finally purged out and perfected, when he can see His image into it. Okay, and that's how Yahweh Shema Shai is going to do for us, the hopeful elect. Put us in the hottest part of Jacob's trouble, okay, diverse temptation, until He can see His image in us, okay, until He can fully see, which one of us is not going to bow the knee and stand stiffly for the names of Yahweh Shema Shai, all right. So, so that's pretty much it on that. I didn't want to make this too long, so Lord willing, this video is edifying. And until next time, Shalom.